required for our infantry to go forward.
What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to History Saver 1941. Thank you for joining me. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Hope you're enjoying the Gettysburg series. Got a nice little break video in between this last episode and the next episode. So I hope you enjoy it. We haven't been back in the war room for a little while, so it's nice to actually do another video from here and to, get off of what we've been talking about and, give you guys something a little bit different just to give you a break. And, of course, as always, it's nice to dive back into some World War II reenacting stuff and World War II history stuff as well. And what I wanted to do now, I've had some questions lately from a lot of reenacting friends and different people on the M1928 Us Haversack. This is the reproduction US M28 Haversack. This Haversack in particular is from At the Front. So this is one of their Haversacks, and I think this is one of the JQMD Haversacks, I believe, maybe. I don't remember. Yeah, JQMD 1943. Stuff on the back right there. But very nice Haversack. I actually like this Haversack. Even though it's JQMD, it's nice quality, it's very durable, and it's real tough. But what I wanted to do is talk to you a little bit about the Haversack itself, some of the components, and how you should pack it. Now, this varies. During World War II, packing these things was really up to what the guidelines said. Inside, you were supposed to pack socks, maybe a change of underwear, some rations, canned meat, canned bread, and there really wasn't much more than that they carried in these things. And then, of course, you have this lower half here that would have your tent or your shelter half with your pegs rolled up inside. We'll get to that in a minute. But first of all, we need to talk about the components of this haversack to get you to understand what each component is called and what each component does. So let's switch angles here and get right into it. Okay, so here we go. Got a good angle, or as good as it's going to get. And this is Haversack 101. This is your US M1928 Haversack. Yes, it can look a little intimidating when it's out like this, but I promise you it is not intimidating. This thing is actually pretty easy as pie. So what we're going to do is I'm going to talk about some of the components of this thing, then I'm going to throw a couple of random items in here, what will probably have been in one of these things, and show you how it goes together. So first off, we're going to start at the top here, and this is basically going to your suspenders. This is your front belt suspender. So this is what clips to your ammo belt. Next, you have just a simple strap hook, and then these are your pack suspenders. This part is your suspender. So there you go. There's the front straps, just as simple as that. And then this is your outer flap. Now, if we turn it over, flap it down, this is the part you're going to see when it's on your back. You have your meat can pouch. Behind it is a e-tool holder, or your entrenching tool cover. And you can see the US there. So gives you an idea of what that looks like as it's on your back. So there you go. Okay, so this is your haversack binding straps. And then if we flip it over to the back, you've got your haversack end straps right here. Bring it back to the front. Your inside flap, which is how you're going to close this thing up once you got everything inside. And I'll show you how to do that in just a moment. And then you've got also your lower binding straps here. So pretty simple. This is your, if you've got one of these, some guys would have had these on. Some guys, sometimes you would have seen without these. But this is basically your pack carrier body. And this is your lower pack flap here. So this is for if you're carrying in a tent, you would have this down. You wouldn't even see that part, and the tent will be rolled up like this. And I'll get to that in just a few moments and kind of explain that a little bit better to you. But basically, this is all your haversack body right here. This is what your haversack's going to look like as you have it laid out, ready to pack for an event. If you're in a World War II, to go out in the field. So now what we're going to do, we're going to throw some things in here that a soldier may have had in this thing, and we're going to tighten it up. I'm probably not going to throw the entrencher tool in here. One other part of this pack I do want to show you that I forgot about is your bayonet scabbard. This is where your bayonet will go in. So your bayonet basically looks like this. If you notice these hooks on the end, that's usually what you will put on your ammo belt. Well, it also will connect right here. You just hook those in, and your bayonet would ride on the side of your pack. All right, so I got some things to go in here. First thing I'm going to throw in here is going to be my very large toiletry bag. I usually throw it somewhere right in there. Next up, I've got a pair of socks. No, they're not GI socks, I know. It's just the first socks I grabbed on the rack. Socks to socks. Throw them in there. Then we got a couple of rations here. I'm just going to throw those right in here. I'm going to try to keep everything kind of in the middle. I may turn my toiletry kit that way just to make the shape a little bit better for the flaps here. And I want to throw a Jeep cap in here, just something extra. So I may want my Jeep cap later. I will keep it in there. Next thing I'm going to do, take my flap, throw it over everything. Just like that. Very simple. Take my haversack binding straps. I'm going to kind of see where I need to go here. All right, let's let my first straps up here. So send it through the hole. Tighten her down. Put my strap back in. And tighten it up. There you go. Same thing. Figure out what hole you're at. Go through it. Go through your clamp. Tighten her up. Same thing with the bottom. Go through your hole. Right there. Tighten it up. It's in the bottom. And sometimes I even take this excess and I'll throw it back through the loops just like that, just to keep it from hanging, getting snagged, you know, looking real tacky, whatever. So kind of OCD. So I'll do some things like that, and then I'll make sure my flaps are straight. And there you go. If I don't have anything in here, I would do this in with this, and then basically you've got something like that, okay? Now, let's say I wanted to put a 10 in here. Could I do that? Yes. Okay, so if I wanted to put a 10 in here, I could do that too. I would just throw the tent right here, and then basically strap all this lower half up. It will look something similar to this, not quite, but similar. And this tent's not folded correctly to do it with, so I'm not going to do it here. But this will give you kind of a general idea of somewhat how it would look with your shelter half in. So there you go. But for the most part, that is basically how your haversack will look for the most part here. So in this, if I didn't need it, I would throw it up under here, throw it around. There you go. And then the nice part about having this lower flap, even if you don't have a shelter half, if it covers up the bottom for you. So, and then you would take this, put this on your ammo belt. These front straps will go over your front shoulders, and this will clip on to your ammo belt. And then on the back, this would clip on to your back ammo belt. So these two little snap hooks right here will clip on to the back of your ammo belt. And that's how you secure your haversack. And when you take your ammo belt off, well, you unclip your ammo belt, and this just falls right off with your ammo belt. So these act like suspenders, and they are called suspenders. So there you go. That is basically how to pack your haversack. Your meat can pouch will go in the front, E-tool right there. The rest of your stuff is in here, and it's very rare I put a shelter half on this thing. Very, very rare. I'll hardly ever put a shelter half on this thing. If I need a shelter half, I usually just take this thing like this and take it to where I need to go, and there you go. So, for the most part, this is what my haversack looks like at an event. It's on my back, not too big, not too small. I may throw some extra stuff in there sometimes just to make it fill out. So, yeah, there you go. That's your M1928 haversack. All right, guys, so there you go. That is your M1928 haversack. And just a basic rundown. Like I said, there's, certain ways people pack their haversacks. Sometimes I may throw Esbit stoves in there. I may throw, some rations, canned stuff. I may even throw a can of Spam in there every once in a while. So guys pack their haversacks different ways to fit what event you're going to and for what you're doing. During World War II, they pretty much, they had standards they had to pack these, that they were supposed to pack these things, but sometimes they deviated from that, threw other things in there, things they wanted or needed. There's not a big science to it, honestly. It's just knowing how to strap the thing up for the most part. And it can get confusing. Like I said, the shelter half, I hardly ever strap the thing to it, if ever. I mean, it's very rare I do that. So there you go. That's your basic M1928 haversack. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And keep preserving history. Stay safe. We'll see you soon.